Crusader Kings 3 Royal Court delivers a suite of new changes, and in this video, I'm going to take you through my top 5 favourite things to try, new things to do in Crusader Kings 3. These will not only be enjoyable things, but also things that will likely give you a step above your opponents. Let's jump straight in and talk new things to try and tips for Crusader Kings 3 Royal Court. My name is Jumbo Pixel. If you enjoy, do consider sticking around and following. I live stream games like this fairly regularly and also tweet nonsense on Twitter. The first thing you'll want to do as you jump in as a king, therefore able to hold your own royal court, of course, is to ensure that your artifacts are in line and doing what they should be doing. Now, if you head to the bottom left, you'll see your inventory screen. This is where you'll store your personal artifacts. If you click in the top left here, you'll be able to fill this court position, the Antiquarian. Like all of the other court positions added into the game, it is a role that is incredibly powerful. It carries with it a powerful bonus. In this case, it reduces the decay of your artifacts. But more importantly, by hiring an Antiquarian, you enable the Antiquarian to support what we call inspired people, who can create, develop their own new artifacts for you. In this case, I'm going to go through and hire any old person I can. However, it's worth noting that aptitude reflects how well they do their job. This is more important for some jobs than others. In this case, I'm going to settle for a poor person, but more often than not, you'll want to be looking for someone a little more skilled. You can also head over to the decision tree with your Antiquarian in tow and launch the commission artifact decision. This will commission a local artisan to produce a project, indeed, an artifact. Once every 5 years for $100, you can choose whatever type you would like. At the moment, I already have a couple of pieces for my courtroom, but I'm yet to have anything for my head. I'm going to commission a crown. This increases the opinion, by the way, of my Antiquarian, so you might want to use that to your advantage. If you'd like to find a better Antiquarian, or perhaps even search for somebody who already owns artifacts, don't forget you can hit C to launch the character finder. This will enable you to either search for somebody who's a suitable Aquarian, so you might want to search for somebody who's shy, for example, as the trait. This is a good trait, and hire somebody who's smart. So do keep that in mind if you're looking to attract an Antiquarian to your court who will be of higher skill. You could also choose to filter inside of your diplomatic range and then head down to artifact ownership. Here you can filter by certain types of artifact. In this case, I'm going to suggest that they have any artifact in their position. Now I get a list of very interesting candidates. I note that my mother has something she might be keeping from me. I, of course, have some as well. And there are a few other characters within my realm who do. Largely my brothers-in-law's son and player heir. You can, from this point, of course, begin to scheme and plot your way into potentially stealing their artifacts if they're in your court. Or if you'd like to swing this the other way, you can also gift artifacts. This will improve opinion and provide all sorts of other benefits. Don't forget, if you're gifting an artifact like a special sword to your son and player heir, you could use that to ensure it stays within the family. These are just a few things that you can do with the character finder menu. Of course, you might want to use it to your advantage moving forward. Do also keep an eye out for these inspired characters. These are probably worth bringing into the fold. The inspired ability means they have had the adventure inspiration. They want to go on more adventures. It's a skill worth having. These people will create artifacts for you. Another very important addition to Crusader Kings 3 is language in the Royal Court. Here, if you have a look at me, the beautiful King Harold II of England, and my wife, whose name I'm probably not the best at pronouncing. If you're curious about your character's language skills, again, there is a court position for this. The court tutor varies, of course, based off their own aptitude. They provide the learn language scheme power, this ability to scheme and learn the language of somebody else, some additional strength, +4 to +20. They also improve educational outcomes, and you can use them to teach your children additional languages. More on that in a minute. Here I notice I have an inspired courtier who has average aptitude for the position. Not terrible. I could, of course, search for somebody else, but you know what? This person looks good enough for me for the time being. I'm going to choose them. And perhaps the great lands to the south intrigue me. Maybe, let's say, in this scenario, I'm interested in moving down towards Morocco and Africa and taking what I can. Well, thankfully, we can use language potentially to our advantage. If you hover over a character's known languages, you can see their own limit based off their learning and also the languages they already know. This is an important aspect for us because we can, of course, as I've mentioned, use our court tutor to teach our children new languages, potentially sending them off to new worlds, improving our heir, or improving alliances with people like this foreign ruler right here. Again, whose name I won't quite attempt to pronounce this time. There's another element to language, though, that goes bigger than interpersonal relationships, and it's involving the royal court itself. Of course, the DLC wouldn't be royal court if you didn't actually hold court. If you're a king, you can, at the cost of a measly 100 prestige, hear petitioners into your court. This will essentially give you 3 random events, and my goodness, they are hilarious. From resolving disputes between peasants and hopefully using your personal skills to your advantage, right the way through to scandalous affairs between characters. Potentially there's a mythical beast hunting the villages and you have to go out and destroy it. Rivaling lords may come in as well. All of the business of the royal court helps to make this DLC truly fantastic, and it's an incredibly important element of it. When you move to the court grandeur screen, however, though, this is where you'll see language really play out. Down the bottom you have the court language, and you can choose to change it. Generally speaking, this is more important for smaller courts. This grandeur bonus can be much higher or lower depending on the prestige or the notoriety of the language being spoken. Here you can see, of course, the Holy Roman Court is receiving more grandeur, and as you move around the map, if you have a look at other kingdoms, you'll note that those who don't speak a particularly prestigious language aren't receiving a lot of benefits. Here, it makes sense to change the court language, potentially if you're looking to boost your grandeur, to a court language that is more prestigious than your own. Again, this is really powerful if you're a lowborn nothing of a kingdom. It's less powerful if, like me, you're attempting to be the kingpin. But either way, you can get a feel for what the other kingdoms are speaking it and how they're feeding in. And maybe as we grow stronger and improve our grandeur across through into the Norse kingdom, who are getting none out of, we might be able to improve the standing of the Anglic language. Speaking of buffs, if like me, you're starting an English campaign and you've got these really annoying foes right on your border, it wouldn't hurt to pause for a minute and take stock of some of the new buffs and the different interactions that we can take advantage of in Crusader Kings 3 Royal Court to improve our knights. Of course, in any game, you're going to be interested in looking at your duke and in ensuring that you have a reasonable tow of knights or shrews behind you. In this case, of course, I have 12, and while I haven't recruited the best of the best so far, you can see that they're pretty strong. My knight effectiveness is currently at 185% thanks to chivalric dominance and my court type. Let's jump through and take a quick look, aside from simply hiring some knights, at how we can buff these bad boys as of the latest update. There are, of course, plenty of opportunities to change a whole load of measures, not just buffing knights, but everything else inside of your culture system. You can either diverge or hybridize cultures in the update. One of the things you could do is look at cultural pillars, for example, and change to this one, Bellicos, which will improve your prowess, men-at-arms, and levy size. There are other bonuses here, though, it's important to note, and you might be more interested in choosing some of these instead of choosing the knight buff as you move through to traditions as well. There are a suite of traditions that can be changed at any point. The cost of these will vary depending on the appetite for them within your empire and the traditions and languages and pillars that you already have, but it's important to note that there are loads of these, and if you're interested in warfare buffs to improve your armies and in specific and really focused ways, like improving your elephants or ensuring that your mounted units are the absolute best, you can do it through this. However, there are some faster and easier ways. I'm going to show you two, stepping aside from the big cultural systems and the overarching lineage of our bloodline, Here's 2 quick wins. Firstly, the brand new court position Master of the Horse provides up to plus 8% knight effectiveness based on aptitude. Here, you should be looking for somebody who is really good at this position, and aside from my brother-in-law being a ruler, he is otherwise incredibly well suited to this. Excellent. In fact, this will give me plus 8% towards my knight effectiveness, and of course, a little bit of grandeur as well. It will also buff this character tremendously though, adding some extra prestige gain, some cash money, a whole load of benefits for them. So do bear in mind, you will improve opinion, but also be slowly improving this character. Might want to keep it in the family if you can. Within your council, you may also want to pay closer attention to this bad boy, the Duke that we talked about earlier. Take note that some of these interactions are either new or they've changed. The 2 that I want to bring to your most attention is, of course, the increase of county control. Don't forget to control your counties. But moreover, take a look at train commanders. This provides knight effectiveness, men-at-arms damage, and toughness by 1% up to a whopping 19% per month. You might want to enact this one before you're fighting to get the most benefit out of it. The other option is to manage the Royal Guards. Here you can see knight effectiveness in my case can be increased up to 38% per month and decreasing a hostile scheme effect. You'll notice also some possible side effects of improving knights is noted on the Councillor skill panel there as well. In this case, I think managing the Royal Guards might be the right swing for me. And after implementing a couple of small changes, but of course really waiting for this to play out over time, it is of course the number of months that will affect the knight effectiveness, you should see your already pretty good knights, which you could of course use the character finder screen to attract more, or of course use the decision to search for knights to bring them into your court. You should already see though some reasonable improvements to your military and your knights, and your knight effectiveness will slowly be increasing as we move through. And last but not least, as a third and final quick win, you'll see that the court type is impacting it as well. If you jump into the Royal Court, head over to Court Grandeur, you can change your court type based on your ethos. In this case, I have the warlike ethos available to me. I'm going to keep that absolutely here. You will have the warlike ethos available in that other cultural tradition that we looked at earlier as well. After you've buffed your knights, learned a language, maybe even found some artifacts, it's time to consider the most important and fun court position of all, and that's Court Jester. Now, this is a little bit of a meme, but it actually has some real value. In this case, as luck would have it, I've stumbled into a decision between 2 courtiers, 2 knights, and I've got an option that says, if you're going to jest like this, I might as well start paying you. Some events will give you the option to hire characters as court jesters. The other option, of course, that you can take if you jump out of the courtroom is to head over to your court positions because, like all of these other amazing roles, Court Jester is but one of them. Court Jester works a little differently to the rest, though. You'll note that it does improve your monthly grandeur and bonus. It potentially alleviates stress. It reduces opinion. And, of course, will absolutely humiliate the person you are putting as your court jester. Use this to your advantage, really, to keep people occupied, humiliate people, and of course, when you jump back into the royal courtroom, you'll note that your jester is standing here, excitedly waiting to entertain you. This is a really fun way to tie up an otherwise annoying character and force them to play and beg at your will. The last thing you have to try, and again this is a bit of a multifaceted one, is head into the royal court, not into the artifacts room yet, but actually into the grandeur tab. Here you can change your court amenities for a little bit of cash money. You can change each one once a year, and they do operate independently from one another. So if you change your lodgings 1 year, you can come back 6 months later and change your fashion. They'll both have independent 12-month unlock timers for when you can change them again. You'll note that improving all of these will have respective bonuses on you. The ones that I particularly like are Endless Servants. This not only reduces the cost of recruiting people to your court, but drastically improves your scheming power. I think Endless Servants at max is the go-to, but actually moreover, to be perfectly honest, I think if you can afford to, Maxing out all of these is the best thing ever. From health boosts to reduce stress, keeping you alive for longer, to improved prestige and court grandeur from your fashion, to the lodgings that will enable guests to appear more often, stay more frequently, like you more, and crucially, completed inspirations have a good chance of improvement. This will improve those artifacts. Overall, I don't really see any reason to not keep these maxed out if you can't afford to. And as I say, because they're on 12-month timers, you can turn them off and then turn them back on if you really get desperate. And because it's a system that moves fluidly and dynamically along this bar, there's a sort of latent effect to your grandeur level. Here you can see I'm surging it towards 8, but currently sitting down at 3. But by improving all of this and improving a whole load of other things, my grandeur will slowly increase. If I increase the game speed, you'll see this start to tick up. Watch as the baseline value grows and grows up from 21, as I dismiss all these events, through to 70. When you have the game on max speed, you get a lot of events, but that's not the point. The point here is that this system is fluid and dynamic, and just as it moves up, it can move down again. If I were to turn all of these off in wartime desperations to try and save some monthly income, this would start to fall, but only slowly over time. So don't be afraid to turn it up, because you can always turn it off. And of course, don't forget to decorate your room, your amazing royal courtroom. The first step, though, actually comes not from decorating that room, but instead from heading down here to your house, clicking on Customize House, and here you can change your banner, which will be displayed right behind your head. You can really get into the detail here. For example, find an emblem you like, and you can customize just about everything from where it sits on your wonderful house arms to its color, its scale, and everything else in between. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Once you're happy with the banner of, in my case, House Goodwin, and you've finished designing your Call of Duty Black Ops 1 clan tag thing, it's time to, of course, put it on display. Here you can see mine already done. But if you'd like to customize it further yourself, jump to the Court Artifacts tab, and here you can see there's a whole load of spots where you can hang things. Amazing. We'll put the crappy old banner to the left. I've got my sub banner right here in the middle, and you can display artifacts of all shapes and sizes here as well for your courtiers to look in awe at, but also, of course, they provide their own unique bonuses along the way as well. So it's really important that you have these things out on display. In this case, I've got my only 2 artifacts on offer, my katana and the head of Saint Ed. Other than that, that's about all you've got to do here, folks. You've got a claims tab down the bottom that it would be unjust of me not to mention if you want to jump to those artifact claims easily. The other thing to note, of course, is that when you come back to the throne room, over on the right here, you have the photo mode enabled. I really like the rear wall view. I like to keep characters on, hide the UI, and hit spacebar, and you'll save a screenshot into your documents folder. Thank you very much for watching this Crusader Kings 3 video. There'll be plenty more where that came from, I hope. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.